In today's video, we're going to be reviewing SH Figure Arts Venom, and holy crap, this figure is amazing. Taking a quick look at the box, you have a really sick picture of Venom, like, I don't know, being Venom, like, screaming. A bunch of logos, the official Tamashii Nation sticker thingy, and a little window so you can see Venom. On the right side, it says Venom, and it has Venomized there, and Venom. On the back, it has Venom in some different poses and a bunch of information about the figure. And on the left side, it says Venom again with another picture of him. On the bottom, it also says Venom with a picture of him. And on the top, it's another window, and it also says Venom, let there be carnage. Let's open this guy. Opening this guy up, a lot of people say, it doesn't really come with a lot. Well, once you think about it, this figure is huge. Let me compare it to, I'm looking for a figure. Give me a second. This is Goku. See? Without an arm. And on the Super Saiyan 2 body. But it's basically Goku. I'll do more size comparisons. But let's take this bad boy out of the box. As a lot of people could tell, comparing it to an actual photo from the movie, you think, why is he not in a black color? He's in like a more purplish navy color. Well, if I turn the lights off, he's gonna look black. Not just because the lights are off. Depending on the lighting, it'll be different. Since half the time when you see Venom in the movie, it is during nighttime and you could barely tell it. But honestly, the color is not a problem. Let's jump straight into articulation with this guy. Head articulation surprised me a ton. Look how much it can move up, although it can't move. It can look down, but not as much as I was hoping. Arm articulation is pretty crazy. Considering how big this guy is, I'm really happy with the butterfly joint being hidden that well. It is a little tight in the elbow, but that is pretty fine. You just gotta get used to it. That's how much the elbow joint could go, which is alright. You do got a little bicep swivel, and you got your arm articulation, your hand articulation, actually. Pretty good. Now, let's get into ab crunch. He has pretty good ab crunch for a big figure. Actually surprised me a lot. Only thing I could say is if you do make him go forward a lot, you do get a little bit of a gap, but that's pretty fine, since if you pose it right, you won't see it. Now, looking at leg articulation, you could get a pretty nice kick. You could go forward and a little bit back, and you do get a little bit of a swivel. You get a good knee joint, and feet, you get your little toe, which his toe really bends a lot, and you get a pivot, which is good. So overall, articulation is good for such a big figure, so I gotta give props to them. I really do like how they did do this figure, though. Just looking at him, you could tell he has a texture, and he feels a lot different than just normal plastic. His texture is kind of like veiny in a way. That's the best way I could explain it. But dude, as you can see on the back, which I'll get into some of the effect pieces with, you could pop this back plate right off, like so, and you could switch it out with, I forgot what these are called, but it's something he does in the movie. You can easily snap it on. Now, a lot of people probably thinking to themselves, wow, are these made out of a hard plastic? What happens if it falls? No, they're made out of a rubber that could bend, so they're not going to break as easily. And the articulation on them is pretty good. You move them in a lot of different positions, and you could get them into some sick poses with him. Looks amazing. The color does match the figure really well, surprisingly, even though it's a whole different material. As you guys can see, it plugs right into his back really nicely, and you can barely even tell it's there. Just for the sake of it not taking up the whole entire camera, plug that piece back on and get onto his different head sculpts. You could easily plug the head off. The only thing I don't like about the head is how small that head joint is. I could see in the future somebody's going to get it and accidentally break it because it's so small. This is what he looks like with his streaming face on, and oh my gosh, if we look at the detail on this face, it is amazing. His teeth even look a little bit ugly. It's perfect, spot on. This is the type of face you want to use if he is eating somebody. It looks amazing. I love how they did the tongue and even the sides of the face. You can definitely tell that his mouth is really stretched open. Now, swapping it out for the other faceplate, or not faceplate, the other head, I should say. Still looks as good, but his mouth isn't opened as far, so it's more of a chiller face comparing it to the other one. But again, like I said before, please be careful when you put the heads on, because I could definitely see somebody breaking the head. Alright, now let's jump into his hands. The hands that come with him on the box are just these clawing hands that you see Venom normally use to hold people, which actually does work pretty great for holding heads or other things in his hands, but it does also come with 2 fist hands and 2 pointing hands. To take the hands off, it's really simple and easy. It's a little tight, but once you get it off, you realize that there is a pretty big joint for the hands, so it's not going to break that easily, which is great of them to use. I love when they do that. This is what Venom looks like with the pointing hands in. Overall, I mean, it's your basic hand. It looks really nicely. As you can see, it's a little veininess that is white, does lead up on his hand. The joint does kind of make it look a little bit weird, but it's done pretty well. This is what he looks like with his fist hands on. It's exactly what you would expect, and it does look pretty nice. Now, as you could see, it comes with this little effect piece of, I forgot what it's called, but it's when Venom isn't like fully out and he was talking to Eddie in one of the scenes, as you could see. Something I also forgot to show, but I didn't have in the box, is that you could plug this in right over here, and it is a little stand for it. So you could use it for stuff like this, which is cursed. Now let's do a quick size comparison. This is what Venom looks like next to a few different figures. As you Oh, I butchered that so bad. As you can see, right here is the new SH Figure Arts Trunks. Over here, you have the clear Sentinel Miles Morales. Over here, you have the Toby SH Figure Arts. And I gotta say, for size comparisons, I think it is pretty accurate. I don't have Carnage, unfortunately, so I can't do a size comparison to Carnage, but it is what it is. A really cool way you could use Venom's effect piece is like so. You just simply put him like this, and you could have Venom talking to a character. If you want to buy this figure, consider using the link in the description. It'll help support me, and I'm pretty sure Amazon Prime Day is having a sale on Venom, so might as well buy him while you can. I gotta say, for the price, this figure is pretty worth it. You gotta understand, they priced him a bit higher than they probably should have because he was such a bulky figure.